So as I was saying, I will talk about human agency today, so that you will see the other part of education, the social cultural aspect of education, because for a long time ang pinapag-usapan natin usually is yung social structure, ano yung mga problema, ano yung mga nangyayaring marginalization, oppression, so it's that's one part, in pursuing equity reform. Dapat malaman mo yung kaaway mo, no, or yung problema, so that or yung kakampi mo, no. So parang kung nanonood ka ng sine, 'di ba, ang weird na ang fini-feature lang ay puro yung problema, mga kontrabida, no. At yung solution or resolution ay absent. Although may mga ganun naman na alternative genre. Pero as teachers, we are called to teach, and as we teach, there's a possibility that we can reinforce, we can reproduce the social structure, but there's also a possibility that we can resist and introduce social change, educational change, by practicing our individual and human agency. So later on, I hope we have the time to listen sa isang teacher na in-interview ng estudyante ko as she talk about her participation sa social movement, as her way of enhancing her agency. Okay? Sige, so let me share my PowerPoint. Sandali lang. Okay. So yun. Okay, so agency, student, and teacher. Although I will also um, touch a bit on parental or parental involvement or parental agency. So in review, when we talk about social structure, ano ba yung mga social, cultural structures that affect the education system, that affect the learners, the parents, the teachers? So ito yung mga social and economic arrangement na pinag-usapan natin lately, lalo na yung neoliberal or capitalist system. We talk about power structures, like in situation na panahon ng martial law, na authoritarian, or the use of yung police power, yung mga political forces exercised, for example, by the the elite ruling class, experience, yung exercise by mga West, the global North, okay? Yung mga wealthy nations, we talk about it's the wealth distribution, like poverty, inequality of kaya may mga yung kahirapan na isang structure, um and then asang rin ng structure is yung social and cultural norms, or ideologies or isms, like pinag-usapan natin to sa 102, EDUC 102, yung racism, ableism, sexism, etc. And then yung power ng social structure can be felt explicitly. Okay, like yun nga, kung mayroon nandyan yung mga military, police, nandadampot, ganyan, yung red tagging. But sometimes it's even more powerful if it's implicit, like yung hidden curriculum, yun yung theory ng yung hidden curriculum, na ito yung nangyayari araw-araw, yung mga messages na nakalagay sa mga signages, like this is an English speaking school, mga ganyan, yung reminder to behave properly. Okay, the social structures can be embodied in a person, like yung we talk about our habitus. Ito yung mga unquestioned assumption, the way we think, yung opinion natin, the way we act, yung mga taste natin, Ganyan, ano, na akala natin minsan it's just personality. But si Bordu, he's saying that yung social structure is embedded sa ating, sa ating personhood, sa ating pag-iisip, sa ating katawan, ano? And then social structures is also represented to discourses. Ano yung mga narratives, kunyari, na naririnig natin, kunyari yung globally competitive, ayan, very powerful yan, ano? Na yung mga yan, pag naririnig mo yung mga narratives na yon, mga discourses na yon, parang it shapes the way you think. It shapes the parents' way of raising their children, mga ganyan, ano? So, and I think napag-aralan niyo naman to, no? Kahit sa inyong, nandun kayo sa CSSP or yung mga GE courses niyo, no? So, and then we have agency. Oops, baliktad, ano? Okay. So, ito pala muna, no? So yung schooling experience, so it's it is theorized by critical theorists like Bortu, ganyan, ano, Giddens, yung mga readings natin, ano, si Levinson, that schooling is a form of reproducing the social structure, ano. So pag-usapan natin maraming beses. And then, but at the same time, yung agency can also be enacted sa school, ano, through cultural production, ano. Okay. So, quickly, ano, when you say agency, it's the, ano, no, the capacity to act freely, to make decision freely, ano. So, mamaya makikita pa natin yun. So, tong dalawa na to, the power of the structure and the power of agency are both residing in our schooling experiences, ano? So ito yung mga specific theories like yung kay ano the school as a ideological state apparatus, ano, na it controls its shapes, ano. By the way, itong picture na to na generate to ng AI, na natuwa lang ako yung sa Bing kasi kailangan namin ng mga maraming pictures sa paggawa ng lesson plan. So nakakaaliw naman na just by proper prompting, pwede mong makaproduce ng picture sa Bing, ano? So yun din, I'm glad that some of you are choosing, I think two or, are choosing to study AI, ano? Yung AI ba can enhance or can it constrain agency, ano? So we talk about the school as a ideological state apparatus, along with religion, ano pa, media, ganyan, ano? Ano pa, yung mga social groups, ano? Then we also talk about the school na parang it's a, ano ba tawag dito, yung parang it's a sift, sinisift niya yung mga tao, ano? As they come in the school, then they are relegated to their place in society, So we talk about, kunyari, yung mga elite school, they train their students to be creative, to be, to plan. Kasi, kunyari, for like Ateneo, yung mga elite school, they're training them to be managers and CEO, while other schools, they teach obedience, mga ganyan, conformity, and they're already being trained to be workers, ano. So yun yung yung representation ng school as a sifting machine, ano. So ito rin, the school yung factory model. So nakita natin na during what they call this, yung industrial period, dahil kailangan ng mga workers sa factory, so they designed the school like a factory, yung mayroong batch, kaya nga sinong ka-batch mo, mayroong pare-parehong uniform, ayan, ano. And then dito, yung how schools are, it's, we do it for the kids, yan, ganyan ang kanyang discourse, child-centered. Ayan, ano. Pero nakikita natin dito na na yun nga, yung for profit, ito yung neoliberal quality ng mga school system natin, ano. And then we also examine bakit ganito ang tingin sa teachers na noon pag bad grades, kasalanan ng bata, ngayon teachers and the schools are required dahil to make the children successful na to give good grades so that they will have something to show para mas competitive sila so the parents, because the parents pay higher amount greater cost of schooling, so they feel that they have the the right to demand to from teachers. So nakita natin dito how teachers are becoming less empowered yung nagiging sila parang empleyado, okay? So instead of teachers, they become mere employers. Okay? And not only that, yung nakita natin dito that yan, itong teacher na to, dahil isang feature ng neoliberal education is yung constant measuring, Kaya may tinatawag na theory na audit culture. The school is always audited, or yung surveillance system, because the market wanted to know if the school is delivering the learners, the graduates that they want. So they are delivering, producing workers, the right kind of workers. Kaya laging mayroong system, mediating system, like yung standardized test. Because ang findings, baka gusto rin yung aralin to, the teachers tend to teach to the test. Okay, so the test, the assessment system like yung NAT, yung PISA, yung TIMSS, yung CPLM, lalo na sa Amerika, kaya marami kang makikitang memes tungkol dito, and yung test na yon sa US is yung result nun ay yun ang nagko-cause ng pagsasara ng mga eskwelahan, or dahil nga sasabihin nila, mababa tong school na to sa standardized test, so yung gamitin niyo yung voucher niyo sa ibang school, So dito nakakatawa na yung teacher is not teaching something else is because wala naman siya sa test, And then ayan okay, so yung yung discourse no child will be left behind, Parang it sounds right, no child will be left behind. Pero tignan niyo how it is being enacted, like itong teacher na to, ayan instead the child gusto niya natututo, tumitingin siya sa window, parang that's where natural education should happen, pero dapat mag upo siya sa desk niya, mag-take siya ng test, dahil sabi ng teacher, you should not be left behind. So nare-reduce yung meaning ng left behind into being subjected to test. Kaya maganda tong mga ito na ina-analyze ng mga ng mga social scientists like teachers like you, educationist, that's how you are to be that's how teacher should be, educationist. Ibig sabihin, you are like a social scientist studying the social and the cultural aspect of education, or even the economic aspect. So now, ito na yung agency. So nakita natin kanina yung examples, manifestations of social structures sa lipunan and sa eskwelahan. So agency is the ability of individuals to act independently and make their own decision. Importante ito sa lipunan natin, Kasi what if lahat ay oppressor, authoritarian yung government, malakas yung police power, malakas yung market, ganyan, nadidehumanize yung mga tao. So importante na mag-surface yung agency because it opens opportunities for individuals to challenge societal norms and create change. Kaya nagkakaroon ng pagbabago dahil dito sa agency. So as na-mention ko na before, yung everyday resistance. So yung ginagawa araw-araw ng teacher or ginagawa araw-araw ng like yung context nito case cut, yung ginagawa araw-araw ng mga workers sa isang plantation, ano? And then agency is also conceived as a room to maneuver, no? So merong para kang nasa isang hell house. Malaking building na napaka-oppressive, but may mga rooms, may mga spaces that you can maneuver, no? So yun din, ano yung mga spaces na yon? Paano malolocate yung mga spaces where teachers, where students can practice their agency, because ang agency is not, is limited, okay? So agency can be practiced individually by the individual teacher, student, parent, administrator. Okay, but it can also be collective. No? So we'll talk about, kunyari yung collective example is yung social movement. Ano? Kaya magandang pinapag-aralan din. Ano? Baka some of you would like to study yung mga social movements sa education. Like ano ba, yung mga TDC, Teachers Dignity Coalition, yung mga yan, yung mga teachers union. And then ito yung examples of acts of resistance, kunyari yung resistance against the colonizers, yung ginawa ng mga heroes natin, against dictators and against isms, like kunyari isa sang sa US, yung civil rights movement, dati segregated yung mga colored na children, and then English only, and because of itong civil rights movement ay nagkaroon ng bilingual education, nagkaroon na ng ng heterogeneous grouping na wala na yung segregation. Okay? So, ayun nga ang laging tinatanong, if social structures are truly hegemonic, kasi sinasabi powerful sila, can they be resisted? Okay? So, ang sagot dito, yes, through agency. However, dahil powerful nga yung social structure, agency is not absolute. And it is produced based on certain enabling and disabling condition. Yun nga, may spaces pa. You notice the word produce, So, sinasabi dito sa social science theories that agency is not something that is inherent, it is something that is produced through through a mix of factors, through certain factors. So titignan natin kung ano yung mga theories dito, So meron ding tinatawag na subaltern agency. So it's not merely resistance. Ito maganda tong tignan nyo to sa mga study nyo. Kasi sinasabi nito, I think sina Said, that yung agency na to, it incorporates a combination of responses ranging from active support to passive acceptance of submerged resistance. So it's strategies that encompass both collective resistance to compliance. So yung parang yung paper nyo last time, sino ba yung nag-report, yung last group? So yung mga yung mga yung mga estudyante, because they want to be successful, gusto nila makagraduate, So there are moments that they are resisting, but there are also moments that they become passive actors, passive passive agents. Yeah, kasi yun nga yung formulation nito, So sometimes they resist, they choose moments that they resist, but in some other time they have to comply, So nakikita natin dito na yung social structure is not something that pwede mo siyang buwagin. It is something na it's a long process, So isa ring representation ng agency is improvisation, So magandang tignan nyo rin to sa study nyo. Paano nag-i-improvise? Okay, yung mga teachers or yung mga estudyante, and it happens when they are confronted with unfamiliar social contexts, ano? Which allow the usual ways of interacting not to fit and prompt on the spot action, ano? So these actions, sabi ni Holland, these actions are creative, innovative, and imaginative, ano? The dissonance forces a rupture or break from expected action and creates opportunities. Ano, yan na naman yung rooms, spaces for new actors. Ano? So sinasabi dito na pag mayroong dissonance, may nagkaroon ng crisis. So yun, ano, kunyari yung sa K to 12, ano, nagkaroon ng, sa study ko, ano, nagkaroon ng crisis kasi sabi, use the mother tongue in teaching students, pero wala namang materials, ano, nagagamitin, ano. So we'll see how teachers practice their agency, ano. May ipapakita ko. Okay, so these are example of agentic action, ano. So ayan, ano. So kita nyo dito, ano, na it involves resistance, mass action, ano. So it focuses on certain issues like budget cut. Okay, kaya lang minsan dito sa UP, puro na lang budget cut, ano, puro na lang economic ang analysis. Kaya nga sinasabi ko sa inyo, as educators, as teachers, educationists, wag yun naman hayaan na lang na puro budget or puro sweldo anong issue, ano. Dapat naman mas malawak, ano. So ito, ayan, ano, it exposes kita nyo dito how resistance happens by exposing ano pa talaga yung nangyayari, ano. So education is not for sale. So can you imagine na it confronts people with the true messages, ano? Ano ba yung totoong nangyayari? So yun ang isang role ng mga educationists and social scientists, ano? They distill, they analyze what's happening, and then they try to create narratives, ano, that will compel people to change, ano. So yan, so ito rin isang dito, ano. And then this is also one way of, I think napakita ko na sa inyo dati, ano, of affecting change sa daily life, ano. Like itong parent na to, sabi niya, if you do not study, you will end up like him. Pero sabi ng parent na to, if you study well, you'll be able to make a better world for him, ano. So itong ganito na paraan ay laging ginagawa ng mga parents, ano, yung objectifying people as if kasalanan, as if walang yung itong nagtatrabaho na to ay hindi nakapaloob sa isang lipunan, ano, na it's all kasalanan niya, hindi siya masipag, mga ganyan. However, this parent, bata pa lang yung bata, yung anak niya, uh, nagkakaroon na siya ng pagbumulat sa kanya, no? Ini-expose niya kung ano yung totoong nangyayari, and then ano yung magiging role niya no paglaki niya, no? So now let's look briefly sa student agency. So last time we talked about yung the lads ni Paul Willis, ano? So itong study ni Paul Willis na to, it created a shift. Before Paul Willis did this study, ang very overwhelming, ano, ang nangyayaring analysis sa school is from a social reproductionist. Okay? So yan, sikat dito yung mga ano, no, yung mga theories sa critical pedagogy, yun nga yung theories ng yung mga hidden curriculum, yung social stratification in school, yung mga yan, ano. And then itong study ni Willis, in-expose niya na yung lads, ito yung mga anak ng mga factory workers sa London, yung kanilang anti-school behavior, kanilang kaging pasaway, and even eventually dropping out of school. It's a manifestation of their agency because they do not like to be told what to do. They made visible na yung schooling is boring, ano. And then schooling is not is weakening them, ano? Actually, yung ginamit na word dito ni Willis, kaya siya na tawag doon, nakikriticize, is schooling is effeminate, ano? So parang sinasabi nila na ano no, na parang it's instead of empowering, they are being disempowered sa school, ano? So alam nila na eventually they will drop out because of their behavior and because they do not want to conform dun sa logic ng schooling. Kaya since they are going to leave school anyway, then they might as well enjoy school, ano? Kaya 'yon, nagpapasaway sila, having a laugh, pinapahirapan nila yung mga teachers, ano? So parang ang tingin ni Paul Willis dito is a form of student agency, no? Ito naman, I'll be showing dito sa lecture ko na to yung mga studies na ginawa ko, ano. So itong study ko dito, yung mga mambunong, ito yung mga parang ritual leader sa Cordillera, no. Ah nung in-interview ko 'tong mga mambunong, sila yung mga magagaling pag mayroong nangyaring patay or may kinakasal or may nagkasakit, sila yung magli-lead ng prayers, ano? And then sila yung tutulong sa family so that they can cope with their crisis, ano? And then when I asked them how did they become mambunong, kwento nila na nung nag-aaral pa sila, yung school nila lagi silang nadi-discriminate sila kasi yung baknang, yung wealthy, kung Ilocano ka alam yung word na baknang, ano. Yung mga anak ng baknang, sila yung nafi-favor, ano. Tapos lagi silang niloloko, like ito si Mang Apolonio, nakasuot siya ng bahag, ano, during his time. Tapos hihilain ng mga kaklase niya yung bahag niya, no? So eventually, because of, ito naman si, itong isang mambunong tong babae na to, I think pangalan niya na ba? Sonia, I think, ano? Dahil sa kahirapan, so she had to drop school. However, it's interesting, they related that when they were young, when they left school, dahil wala na silang yung opportunity na mag-aral, makagraduate, ano? Kaya pumunta sila dun sa mambunong sa kanilang community, ano? So itong mambunong na to, siya yung indigenous ritual leader, ano? And very siya, no? Siya yung leader sa community nung panahon na hapon, kasama siya sa lumaban, mga ganyan, ano? And so they trained to become a mambunong. Pinag-aralan nila yung mga prayers, paano mag-interpret ng mga events, ano? Paano i-manage yung ritual, ano? Ilang baboy or baka ang kakatayin, ano? It's interesting, napo-promote sila, no? Meron silang grade 3, grade 6, mga ganyan, ano? And ito yung kanilang parang diploma. So when they were promoted, meron nagkaroon ng kanyaw, ritual, nagkatay ng mga baboy, baka. Kaya yung mga skulls ng baboy, saka yung ginamit na stick, yung na pangtusok para mamatay, naka-display sa harapan ng bahay nila. So dito pinapakita sa harapan ng bahay na itong nakatira dito ay isang mambuno, no? So nakita natin na kahit na nag-drop out sila, they sought alternative means, ano, to be educated, to gain knowledge and wisdom, and to gain prominence, ano, like itong si Mang Apolonio, nung panahon na gustong kunin ng gobyerno yung lupain nila dahil nga watershed yun, ano. Kaya at ayaw magpatayo ng school, yun pala yung issue, ano. Ayaw magpatayo ng school kasi sa amin yan, watershed yan. Kailangan ma-educate, wala pang eskwelahan sa kanilang sitio. Kaya ang ginawa nila, ayan, ano, no, nagsama-sama sila. Ayan, ano, yung nung dumating na yung magsasara ng school, kumanta sila ng Bayang Magiliw, mga ganyan. So nagsama-sama sila para maipatayo yung eskwelahan nila, no? At so kahit kita nyo dito, no, na kahit na they chose the alternative pathway, they still want their children, to be educated. So nire-recognize nila yung ano pa rin yung value ng schooling kahit na meron silang indigenous learning system. Ito yung aking biyahe ano, tignan niyo ang ganda ng beach. Nanggaling ako diyan last week or the other week sa Tawi-Tawi ano. Tawi-Tawi is the farthest province in the Philippines. It's 2 hours lang nasa Malaysia ka na no, by boat. So it's a beautiful place. Probably nandun kami, nandun yung International Divers Group and they said that it's infinitely better than Maldives or Maldives. Nabuhay pa yung kanyang corals at marami mga turtles. So talagang ano no, yung it's a very beautiful place. But it's the same time this is Barm. And years a long time ago meron diyang conflict. Kaya it's a very very poor you know uh, region. Ano, nagugulat ako. Parang yung 70s, yung mga scenes nung 70s sa probinsya namin, yun ang nakikita ko. Ano? So itong ang nakita ko dito, ano, yung student agency. Kasi yung mga bata, galing to sa mga remote barangay. Island to ha, mga island barangay. Ano? Yung iba naman galing sa Zamboanga, no? Sa mainland. Kasi mura ang MSU Tawi-Tawi, mura ang tuition. So what they did, ang kanilang ginamit na word nakipagsapalaran. Nakipagsapalaran yung mga high school graduate, pumunta sila sa MSU para mag-aral. And then makita mo rin yung school, ano, they provided lodging, yung mga teachers, kinukuha silang yung mga bata na yun na maging kasambahay o magtrabaho sa bahay nila para meron silang allowance. And talagang these kids, ano, they endured, imagine 4 years of their college life, hindi sila umuwi sa probinsya nila, no? Ganun sila kahirap, wala silang pamasahe, you know? Or maybe they had other reason that the parents wanted them to focus. They wanted to focus their schooling. So uuwi na lang sila pag nag-graduate na lang sila ng college, you know? So some of them are Badjao. Ito yung pinaka-poorest marginalized group in the Philippines dahil wala silang wala silang birth certificate dahil napaka mobile nila, nakasira sila sa bangka, hindi sila natitigil sa isang lugar. But some of them nagtatayo sila ng bahay on stilts, ano? Then na-meet ko nga yung isang teacher, teacher na siya at Badjao siya, no? So first generation, yun ang tawag na first generation graduates. Sila yung first college graduates doon sa kanilang isla, sa kanilang family, ano, and kanilang group, ano, like itong Badjao na to, ano. May nakatira ka sa boat, ano, doon papasok ka sa school. Then nakita ko rin dito, ano, na yung isang enabling factor, yung 4Ps. Dahil yung 4Ps, nagre-require siya ng birth certificate at mag-aral yung bata sa school. Kaya yung Badjao, kasi inaral namin yan in the past hindi yan nag-aaral, ano? Talagang they remain unschooled all their life. Pero for the first time, may nag-aral sa kanila at naging teacher na, ano? May 4 yata or at least 3 to 4 teachers or workers sa MSU ng mga Badjao, ano? So, ayan ano, kasi nga yung Badjao kung dahil wala silang limited ang kanilang education kaya madali silang naloloko ng mga politician, ginagamit sila saan-saan, ano? Okay, so that's an example of student agency, no? Ito naman yung parental agency na inaral ko, kapapublish ko lang ito. Like kanina, no, pinakita ko yung agency ng isang parent. Ano? Ito naman, during pandemic, paano dinemonstrate ng parents yung kanilang agency. Ano? Kasi first time na magkaroon ng online learning, dati kasi ang online learning, ang policy ng DepEd, grade 4 ka lang, pwede kang mag-online or independent learning or alternative delivery mode. Pero dito mula kindergarten. So the parents, they demonstrated their agency by making do with whatever resources they had. You know? And then another way of practicing their agency was staying positive. Itong mga parents na survey, talagang they said ano na they believed na makakatapos yung anak nila, makakatawid yung anak nila. So they stayed positive. And then we also read stories of how parents para lang makatawid yung anak nila, sila na yung sumasagot ng modules ng anak nila, no? Now let's look at teacher agency. Itong theory ng teacher agency or conceptualization ng teacher agency became popular only recently, ano? Okay, dahil nga sa neoliberalism, dahil sa nangyayaring arrangement na nagiging powerless yung teacher, na tagatanggap lang siya ng reforma, ng policy from all these experts, from the government. And then maraming expectation sa kanya, marami siyang gagawin. So parang parang how can change happen, So sina Ebermeyer, sina Biesta, Simbilas, ayan sila yung mga isa sa mga nauna, Ahern's, na nag-study ng teacher agency, so ayan. So yun nga, because of standardization, one size fits all curriculum program, so yung teacher na de-professionalize siya, Can you imagine a doctor being told, ito ang i-prescribe mo ngayon. Ito lang yung pwede, ito yung hindi, So yun din nangyari sa teacher, Imagine nag-aral siya buong college paano magturo. Nag-dream siya na she will mold children, to become thinkers, to become citizens. Pero nalilimit yung kanyang capacity na de-professionalize siya. Binibigyan na siya ng mga ready-made materials, ganyan, highly prescriptive curricula, and then merong regime of testing. So kailangan mag-teach the test siya. So because of those conditions, na-formulate itong teacher agency. And there are several theoretical perspectives in describing agency, coming from Bandura, social cognitive theory. I think inalo niyo to sa 116, So ayan, this theory identifies yung intentionality, forethought, self-reactiveness, and self-reflectiveness as the core features of agency. And it relies on one's self-efficacy. So importante yung self-efficacy ng teacher. However, sinasabi din nila itong scholars informed by this particular theory that when teachers or individuals cannot exert direct influence, meron na tawag na proxy agency. They rely on others to act on their behalf. Okay? And then meron din tinatawag na collective agency. Ito yung kay Vygotsky, ito yung socio-cultural theory or socio-culturally mediated capacity. Okay? Dito sa mga social scientists na to, they do not see agency as something residing in a teacher. Kagaya kanina kay Bandura, they feel or they believe that agency is always social. It happens in a social context. So yung mga agentic actions ng mga teachers, students, parents are always mediated by the social, cultural, and historical context in which they are situated. So ano ba yung mga factors that affect them? So ito yung kunyari lipunan sa Pilipinas, ano yung sistema sa Pilipinas, yung ano yung kultura, hindi lang to yung kultura na indigenous, kundi ano yung kultura sa school, ano yung mga practices, ano yung karanasan, based sa kasaysayan, yung mga teacher, ano ba yung kanilang karanasan, collective experiences in the past. So I use this in one of my studies which I will show later on. Then meron ding mediational system like the impact of early experiences on teachers. Ito yung mediational system na like ano ba yung identity nila, Ano yung tingin nila ng ano bang purpose ng education? Ano yung belief nila about teaching? ano yung kanilang opinion on the right way to teach, ano? And then hindi lang yung social broad context, social structure. Ito, tinitignan nila yung immediate context. Ito yung institutional context. Kunyari sa eskwelahan nila, sa district, sa division. Ano yung mga policy reform? Ano yung mga new curriculum na pinapasa? Ano yung mga new assessment program? No? So parang ganito, so ito yung cultural structure, yung mga values, belief, it's social discourses, paradigms. Okay, so it naapektuhan sila, yun yung nagpo-form ng kanilang habitus. At ito naman yung external behavioral yung institution, rule system, laws, regulation. And so both of these major structures are influencing, shaping yung teacher agency, yan ito mga to. And ito na yung actions nila. So agency, as I said earlier, is produce. Okay, it is produce, reproduce. So because of the intermingling of these two, nagkakaroon ng agentic action, and agentic action can inform, it can change, nagkakaroon ng restructuring sa lipunan. Okay, so hindi lang siya tagatanggap, hindi lang siya yung nasi-shape or nabibiktima, parang ganoon, pero nagkakaroon ng interaction, nagkakaroon ng interaction between the agent and the structure, so nagkakaroon ng pagbabago. And ganoon din, nagkakaroon din ng pagbabago sa kanyang immediate context, sa DepEd for example, so ito yung concept ni Carson that represent yung sociocultural concept of agency. Ito naman yung ecological perspective ni Priestley. Sabi niya na ang teacher agency may be contextually afforded or constrained but adds a temporal dimension. So it's not something permanent, but it happens on a certain moment, So ito 'yun. Kagaya rin siya, similar dun sa sociocultural, the outcome of the interplay of iterational, practical, evaluative, and projective dimension. Mamaya ipapakita ko to sa dun sa graph, sa graph. I mean, ano ba to? Yung kanilang figure, So may kinalaman dito yung experience ng teacher sa past, present, and future goal, it forms an iterative relationship. Yun yung paulit-ulit, And because of that, nagkakaroon ng agency, So itong si Diesta, inadapt niya yung yung formulation ni Emmer Bayer and Misch. Tapos pinapularize niya, kaya nagkaroon ng nakilala siya as Fiesta, pero sila yung original, So nakita niyo sa baba, teacher emotional agency, or it can be teacher agency kasi yung nakikita natin dito na na yung agency is also demonstrated through emotions. So itong agency na to, it's determined through practical evaluative. So ano ba yung kanyang factors like cultural, social structure. So ano na yung mga ideas niya, values, social structure, ano yung mga broader relationship, power, resources, anong mayroon siya, So this is interesting. Kasi 'di ba we talk about capital, So maybe anong klaseng capital, economic capital, may din cultural capital, mayroon siya niyan. And then emotions, ito sa formulate ito ng isang student ko si Romy Rosa, dinagdag niya yung emotions. However, itong mga to, they are affected or shaped by, tignan niyo yung arrow, iterational, things that happen in the past repeatedly. Ano yung buhay ng teacher, yung life history niya, Ano yung kanyang professional history? Ano yung mga inaral niya? Ano na yung sinulat niya? Okay, ano yung mga accomplishment niya. And also, the other one is yung projective. Ano yung kanyang goal? Ano yung short-term and long-term goal niya, no? Kaya when you do your study of teachers, magandang gamitin niyo to, ano? So that pwede niyo silang interviewin, ano po ba yung naging karanasan niyo? Ano yung yung ano yung mga experience niyo as a child, okay? Like yung aking in-interview na teachers dun sa Benguet ng mga mother tongue, natuturo ng mother tongue, they experience the difficulties sila ay nasa silence dahil English only yung class nila, no? So yan. So itong isa. And then finally, agency as a discursive practice in the post-structuralist view, ano? Si Davis. Sinasabi dito that teachers make agentive moves only when they are assigned the position to do so, no? So parang may pagka-situational din, ano. Pero mayroon din siyang kakaiba kasi thus an individual who has the obligation to take themselves up as a knowable, recognizable identity who speaks for themselves and who accept responsibility for their action, ano. So kunyari nag-absent yung principal, yung teacher ay inassign siya na maging OIC. Okay? So nagkaroon ng opportunity to reinvent herself, ano? Ito kasi yun eh. So sinasabi dito, situations that allow moments of liberation and agency. You notice moments, open doors, room, space for maneuver. So as they are in that new moment, they construct a discourse or narrative about their agentic position, ano? So their agency is influenced kung ano ba yung narrative nila, ano yung discourse nila, no? So for example, ito 'yon hindi ko pa to nagagawa tong study na to pero interested ako. Yung teachers usually they are perceived as hero, ano? So as heroes, they are hero ng mga students, but you look at them, they look very harmless and very sweet, as if the educational system is not that what yung hindi siya ganong ka war zone. Okay? Parang as if napaka-safe. Kaya so ganyan ang kanyang discursive representation, napaka-sweet, nakangiti, naka-heels, na ganyan, ano? Everything is nice. However, the teachers, if we look at them closely, dapat to affect reform, they should also be a hero and a villain at the same time, like itong dalawa na to. Ano na ba pangalan nila, ano? So ewan ko kung kilala nyo, baka yung mga parents yung nakakakilala sa mga na to, no? Hero, villain. They are a hero, they are villain at the same time. Okay? So ito yung isang study ko na ethnography ko to. Ang inaaral ko, ang data set ko dito ay Facebook. So it happened, ang isang crisis na nangyari was the K-12. Ito 2016 So nangyari yung K-12 in 2013. So nagkaroon ng Facebook, a secret Facebook group, 60,000 yung members niya. Can you imagine, I had to do content analysis, discourse analysis. And then sometimes nag-i-interview ako ng mga teachers, lalo na yung mga administrators, So yung mga narratives nila, yung mga posts nila ay yun yung inaaral ko, Siyempre I had to seek the permission of the owners of the Facebook group. So naging participant observation, tumambay ako doon sa Facebook group na yon. Nakikinig ako. At the same time, nagpa-participate ako. Like kung may teacher, nagtatanong siya tungkol sa kanyang thesis, yun, nagbibigay ako ng idea kung saan niya hahanapin. So hindi lang ako detached observer. I was a participant observer sa Facebook rin yun. And matagal din, 6 months akong nagbabad. Okay? So ito yung mga nakita ko, ano yung mga narratives nila at makikita mo dito yung how they are strongly influenced by their structure, by their institutional structure. So dito nagagalit sila, no? Nakita mo ito yung kanilang agency, ano? So yung Facebook group na yon, it became an avenue for sharing dahil nga yung K-12 marami siyang hinihingi na bagong forms, bagong materials, bagong lesson plan, bagong lahat. At the same time, so sa Facebook group na yun, nandun yung sharing, meron silang Google folders. Minsan hindi na kaya ng Google folder, lilipat na naman sila sa iba, ganun karami yung materials. But at the same time, it was also an avenue for ranting, ano? Okay. So yan, sabi niya na during our time today, we should not be called a teacher anymore. We should be called yaya, professional nanny. Like nannies, we watch over children, we scold them, comfort them to stop crying. We feed them during feeding time. We play with them at times. Sometimes parents tell us, Mom, my kid has a cough, so please wipe his back when you see him perspiring. Parents will call us to inquire about the whereabouts of their child. They would ask, Ma'am, can you please take my child home? Ano? So makikita mo dito sa narratives nila yung totoong nangyayari sa buhay nila. No? So yan. Then sabi nila, we are also storybook writer, singer, entertainer, creative consultant during contests, social worker, agriculturist in the school garden, psychologist for pupils, parents, and school head. We are asked by the cafeteria manager to sell bowls of soup. We wash the curtains and the rugs used in the classroom. We wash the dishes. We are carpenters, etc., etc. No? So yan, ano? And then yung teacher factor. Ito very interesting. No? We often hear teacher factor. Pero what's happening dito sa aking study, it's actually a form of teacher blaming. Ano? So sabi nila, sawang-sawa na po ako kapag sinasabi at pinapamukha sa atin yung teacher factor. Wala ba tayong ginawa? Ayan, ano? If anything bad happens, they would quickly say it is teacher factor. The truth is, we dip into our pockets to spend for classroom repair, buy school supply, feed pupils with no lunch money, ink, etc. And the government does not refund. I am glad God is there. Nakakita mo rin yung kanilang spirituality. So ito, interesting, nagre-react sila dun sa public perception na yung mga teacher, mababa ang IQ, na slow sila. So, their counter discourse, kita mo dito yung kanilang agency is through counter discourse, So sabi niya, it's not about how intelligent you are, but how did you affect the life of your student? I would rather love a slow teacher with high EQ than a smart and intelligent teacher with low EQ. We aspire for wisdom and not intelligence, So pinapakita nila na ganito kahirap ang sitwasyon ng mga turo nagpupunta sa malalayong lugar, So pinopost nila ito, and then ito pa yung mga ibang rants nila. Do we need to cheat? Ito sikreto to. Do we need to cheat in the NAT to rate our score? Do we need to pass those who are not learning anything? What kind of government do we have? Other government officials receive fat bonuses. And then, dahil nga sa pabigat na dulot ng K-12, sabi nila, we are not a robot nor a Carabao. So nakita mo dito na, how agentic they are through their rants and how they analyze the situation, how they deconstruct the situation, ano yung totoong mensahe, Dito rin nakita mo yung kanilang agency through their creativity kasi ito sa mga remote school, wala pa nung hindi ewan ko ngayon hindi pa uso yung mga tarpaulin. And they had to produce a tarpaulin kaya nakaimbento sila ng tar papel, So ito yung mga copy papers na print. So they have a system of printing and then tinagtagpi-tagpi nila para maging tarpaulin. So ito yung nakita mo yung improvisation ng mga teachers. However, tinanong sila, payag pa kayo na lagyan ng permission ang pagpo-post sa ating group? Ayan, So do you agree that each post in this group has to be approved? So ayan, so nakita mo dito na na medyo mayroon din silang move to control, to regulate. And then they're always saying pag nag-uusap sila, dapat wag hayaan na kung sino-sino lang makapasok. So they're very strict with the membership. So ibig sabihin, and then some teachers change their name, ano, it's not their real name. So it means they are very agentic in the sense that they're very critical of the system. They are exposing the system, and yet limited yung agency nila, no? They can only do that within the Facebook group. No? Pagdating sa labas, hindi pwedeng mag-comment, hindi pwedeng magnega kasi they are concerned about their promotion. Ano? So kita mo, paano sila naninimbang? Okay, nung sinulat ko tong article na to, ano, yung nagkaroon ako ng analysis ng teacher experience through the years na, di ba, sabi ko kayo na, no, yung historical is very important. So, ayan, ano, during the Spanish period, the Cora Barroco, yung pinipili niya yung pinaka-obedient and prayerful, sila lang yung nagiging teacher. And then yung US rule, yung mga payag na maging replica ng mga Thomasite, na dapat yung accent nila is American accent, sila lang yung pwede maging teacher. And then during the martial law, yung mga payag na maging mouthpiece ng bagong lipunan. And even during this time, ano, na the teachers are made to be implementers of the standardized curriculum, and they are responsible to make students succeed and become quote-unquote globally competitive. Ano? But during, through history, may mga moments of resistance. So there were records na yung mga teachers, sila yung mga nanguna sa mga katipunero, ano? May mga katipunerong teachers kasi mayroong nakitang memo na sinususpend yung mga teacher dahil members sila ng katipunan. And then currently there are teachers union leaders and members among teachers. Okay? So ito naman yung aking isa pang study on teacher agency. Hindi, kaming dalawa ng aking advisee. We are doing this paper for a book. Ano? We are publishing this, a chapter of a book. And then we found na yung mga teachers ay ano nga ba? Ayan. So we found that teachers practice their agency sa mga MTB MLE classroom. Mamaya I'll show you how. Ano? So according to Tao and Gao, tong article na to on teacher agency, they provided, there are means to enhance teacher agency. First of all, sinasabi nila yung mga avenues, places where teacher can practice their agency as an individual, as they continuously learn how to teach, sa institutional, the policy implementation, and then ayan, sa societal, agency for social justice. So hindi lang sa loob ng classroom, kundi ano yung as a result of schooling, ano yung paningin kunyari sa mga dropout dati sa mga badyaw, no? Excuse me, ano? So yan. So ito yung sinasuggest nila na means, ano? Ito nakita ko kayo na, as I mentioned last time, yung mga may group na napansin nila to, no? So to enhance agency, you have to change yung contextual conditions, ano? For example, yung bottom up. Instead na ang policy making is top bottom, okay, top to bottom, ano? Top down policy making. But if you change the system and make it bottom up, okay, then it will enhance teacher agency, lessen their work, Kaya minsan ang tingin ko kaya ang dami-daming trabaho yung teacher para wala silang oras magreklamo, no? Wala silang oras mag-resist, pagod na sila, no? Kaya isang reason din 'yan why we should address yung overwork ng mga teacher. And then promoting actors growth, no? Sabi dito, they should overcome deficit discourses related to teachers and learners. Kunyari, yung teacher as implementer. So kaya ito, itong klase nyo na to, itong class natin, it is meant to develop agency and also for you to know how to analyze situations para makita nyo kung, paano ma-enhance ang agency, gaano kalakas yung social structure, paano siya ma-resist, ano? And then Tao and Gao suggested yung collective agency, which is through, working with a group, teams, and social movements. So ito yung nangyari dun sa sa teacher, yung agency sa Bugyas yung aking inaral. So they were made to implement MTBMLE. Pero ang sabi ng gobyerno sa kanila, DepEd, gamitin yung Ilocano. Hindi naman Ilocano ang salita doon, salita yun sa Baguio. So ang salita nila ay Kankanaey. At yung Ilocano, yung Kankanaey, hindi siya kasama sa 19 official mother tongues, However, these teachers, they resisted this policy and then they made their own materials. Kasi kung Ilocano, meron nang pinadala ang DepEd ng mga ready-made materials. But they created. So imagine, nag-create sila ng storybooks, 300 ang nagawa nila. So talagang this is a means to, to resist and to practice their agency through bookmaking. Okay, finally, gusto kong i-highlight yung yung teaching for emancipation, So as a teacher, as a teacher, ano ba yung paraan ng pagtuturo natin? Yung ating pedagogy, so that it will facilitate agency, emancipation, liberation, itong idea na to ay galing kay Paulo Freire, So ito nabanggit ko na to sa inyo, So education either functions as an instrument which is used to facilitate integration of the younger generation into the logic of the present time and bring about conformity, or it becomes the practice of freedom, the means by which men and women deal critically and creatively with reality and discover how to participate in the transformation of their world. Okay? So as teacher, isa to, will you be an agent for social reproduction or you will become an agent for cultural production, So ito si Freire, ito yung kanyang sinuggest na na pedagogical practices, teaching learning practices. So una yung teaching yan. For Freire, education doesn't happen if there's no social change. If you just reproduce the system, then walang edukasyon na nangyari. So sa kanya, teaching, you start with ano ba yung nangyayari sa paligid? Problem posing. Ano nangyayari sa lipunan? Ano nangyayari sa UP campus? Ano nangyayari sa Pilipinas? So sa kanya dapat ganun ang pagtuturo. You talk about, you enable your students to analyze, to deeply analyze yung mga social structure na yan. And then, that process requires conscientization. Okay, or conscienticao sa Portuguese, or consciousness raising. So it's a process kasi nga ang mga estudyante ni Freire ay mga sa Brazil, sila yung mga no read no write, pinaka-poorest na farmers. So the teacher's role is to move the students from magical consciousness. So iniisip nila, ay kaya kami mahirap kasi tamad kami, or galit ang Diyos sa amin, nagkaroon ng landslide, gano'n, yung magical consciousness. And ang role ng teacher is to enable, facilitate situation so that they will gain critical consciousness. So it's a move from magical to critical consciousness. And that happens through problem posing. As you talk, analyze the social conditions together, hindi yung magle-lecture yung teacher, So makita niyo dito na ang kanyang system is dialogical. But before that, critical literacy, So it's not just, kasi ang mga tinuturuan niya mga adults to, parang mga ALS learners. So he taught them how to read the word, nakakabasa, but at the same time, they read the world, Kaya ang sinusulat nila, ang ginagamit niya sa ABC, kunyari alphabet, yung mga relevant, kunyari bigas, letter B for bigas. Okay, yung trabaho, ganyan, ano? Ano ba yung relevance sa kanila? S for sweldo, U for utang. Okay. Um, so, B is for butaw, ganyan, ano? So, ano yung mga situation sa paligid ng mga tao na to, bata na to, at yun ang ginagamit niya sa pagtuturo, ano? Sa pagbabasa sa mga sentence na ginagawa nila. And then, for the teacher to enact na sila ay, agentic, dialogical, ano? Kasi yung oppressive education is banking, kagaya nito, ano? Yung naglalagay lang siya ng ng gasolina sa isip. So sabi niya, yung teacher na yon, they can address an equal power relation through dialogue. Kaya the teacher, because the learning is dialogical, the teacher is a learner, the learner is also a teacher. Kaya learning circle kasi bilog sila, no? Unlike yung arrangement sa school na nasa harapan yung teacher, nakaharap lahat sa teacher, dito they are facing each other. And then the inclusion of praxis, social action, ano? So it's not enough to learn about the ills of society, the problems, but you have to do something, ano? Maybe you have to write the mayor or pumunta kayo sa mayor, makipag-dialogue kayo, ano? So yun yung mga elements ng yung pedagogy na inintroduce ni Paulo Freire, ano? So ito 'yon, ano, na ayan, ito yung banking education. So somebody said, education is not filling up a pail but the lighting of a fire, ano? So it's enabling learners to be agentic, to address their own concern. So it's not the teacher fixing, becoming the messiah and the savior of her students, but enabling them to address their concerns in their community, in their at home, ganyan, ano? Pero at the same time, yung teacher, ano rin siya, no? Yung ino-organize niya sila, community organizers siya, no? Yan, ano? So ano ito yung mga means ng ni Freire, yung street theater, ano? Ito yung kanyang follower actually ang nag-introduce nito, yung theater of the oppressed. So what happened is they would merong skit, parang theater production. And then so theater production, they will introduce change, ano, through their performance. What will happen to the community? For example, tambak yung basura, pinababayaan ng gobyerno, walang policy sa plastic. So what will happen for change to happen? Ano? So through theater performance. And then ito yung learning circle, ano? Yung there's a discussion. Ayan, ano? So ito yung praxis, ano? So dito nakikita natin na how teachers, students are participating sa mga ganitong mass action or participating sa mga social movements, ano, or kahit hindi social movements, ano, yung pagtitipon, pag merong kolektibong aksyon, ano, like ito, they are resisting yung talamak na katapusang testing. Okay, so then look at this teacher, no, yung talagang they are exposing what's happening. So let's teach kids to think outside the box, not fill in circles. And then ito yung role ng education. It is not just providing yung scaffolding, bibigyan mo siya ng tutungtungan niya, pero addressing yung mga social structures so that children can learn in freedom, ano? Okay, so yun yung possibility for social change. Ito sina Giro, Freire, ayan, talk about social movements, ano, hindi masyadong pinapag-aralan to, ano, pero yon, importante ito, ano, like yung mga countries na malakas ang social movements, sila yung may malakas ang dilang edukasyon, democratization of education, so participation of various stakeholders, ano. So dati ang nagpaplano lang ay yung mga pantas, yung mga consultant, yung mga PhD. Pero ang model nito is as you include the teachers, even the students in policy making, then there will be more so democratized education. Everyday resistance, how you address the students, yung mga work nila, instead of sabihin, ay, English yan, dapat Englishin mo. So yun, you honor, you honor their yung kanilang initiatives, their language, their culture. So emancipatory teaching, yung critical pedagogy, and then ito yun, ito yung mga new forms, decolonizing education, yung recognizing how coloniality has affected education, indigenizing education, recognizing that our indigenous knowledge is valid, na it's not superstition, naalala ko sa Tawi-Tawi, sabi ng isang prof na batang-bata pa naman siya. Ay, na-educate na kasi siya kasi sama yung kanilang indigenous group. Na-educate na kasi siya kaya give up na niya yung kanyang superstition sa indigenous namin. Ko ha? Yung may ibig sabihin ng educated, Okay? So, ito interesting, si Bell Hooks. Isa siyang color teacher. Ang kanyang book, Teaching to Transgress. Education as the Practice of Freedom, Teaching Critical Thinking, Teaching Community. Even the way she writes her name, puro small letter. So nakikita mo dito yung kanyang political stance. So sabi niya, one of the most vital ways we sustain ourselves is by building communities of resistance, places where we know we are not alone. Okay? So so ito very important talaga na na as teachers we should be part of teachers union or teachers organization. Kaya nga dito pa lang sa EDUC, I'm already encouraging you mag-join kayo ng org, kahit anong org sa campus, so that you will know how to work with somebody, even in your paper, in fulfilling your paper, writing your paper. I'd like you to work with a team, with somebody. Okay, because yun yung, I'm already 62. I'm turning 62 this year. And nakita ko talaga na kahit magaling ka pa or something, kahit taga-UP ka, you would always need to work with the community. You can only do so much individually. But if you are a part of a community, an advocacy group, for example, then you can do more. You can influence more. All right. So, like for me, yung aking membership is, yun, may mga professional group ako sa language, sa indigenous culture. Sa group na to ay may mga fellow teachers, professors, scholars, linguists, anthropologists, at may mga mga NGO, yung mga nagwo-work sa community, So we meet together. May mga taga DepEd. So that's interesting, yung mga individuals within DepEd, they want change. So they would choose to they would choose to join itong mga groups na to. So we've been meeting together through conferences, forums, may sarili kaming FB group, may chat, ganyan, So mayroon akong group sa MTB-MLE, IP Education. May group din ako sa ALS, So itong mga teachers doon, meron kaming FB group. Yan, So magsasabi sila kung ano nangyayari sa sa ALS, and then gawa tayo ngayon naaapi yung mga estudyante nila. So gagawa sila ng paraan, yung susulatan nila yung kung sino mang opisyal, tuturuan nila yung estudyante nila what to do. Kasi nga yung ALS learners, sila yung pinaka marginalized, pinaka parang feeling powerless, Kasi ang tingin sa kanila, mga lang kayo, nag-drop out, mga pasaway. Okay? Sige, so let me end here. I wish, okay, meron akong ipapa-show, ibigay ko na lang yung link later on. Ito yung testimony ng isang member ng teachers union, yung ACT teachers. And then maybe as I hope you would yung reflect maybe sa final paper nyo, ano yung mga nakita nyong aspect ng social structure and agency. So ipopost ko na so that you can think. and reflect na ng mas maaga. Okay, so maybe for your takeaway, maybe you can reflect, ano ba yung, how did I experience social structure sa buhay ko, no? And so what do you commit to do to enhance your agency as a student, teacher, professional? Okay, so these two questions will be will be used for your exit ticket, na tinatawag. Please write your takeaway on structure and human agency. Ano yung takeaway niyo dito sa napag-usapan natin? I'm sorry that it has become, very lecture. And then what do you commit to do, ano? So you can answer any of these two questions and write them dito sa chat natin, ano? And then, sige, ano lang, ano? So, consultation, beginning this Friday, kailan ba? This Friday, and then next week, magkakaroon na tayo ng consultation. So you will meet me. Kailangan lalo na maganda yung mga papers na, yung topics na napili nyo. No? However, kailangan i-meet ko kayo per group para I can suggest. Yung iba dyan kasi kulang pa yung kanilang review-related lit. If you notice dun sa email ko, nilimit ko yung mga objectives. Kasi karamihan may tendency kayo na mahaba yung objectives, maraming research question, and you have only 1 month to work on this paper. So shorten. It is just a mini case study, mini entography. Shorten, and I hope na suggestion ko lang kung how to shorten it, if you can think of ways. Find good materials, use yung Google Scholar kasi publish yun, reputable. Okay, you can also use our readings, And then meet with me. Gawin nyo na pala, gawin nyo na yung research tools nyo. Ano yung mga tatanungin nyo sa interview? Ano yung i-observe nyo? Observation guide, interview guide. Ano yung i-obserbahan? Kunyari, if you choose na obserbahan nyo yung kanyang social media, ano yung obserbahan nyo doon? If you choose to interview, ano yung mga tatanungin nyo? Sino yung sample nyo? Sino yung, kasi dapat information rich. Sino yung magbibigay ng information na pinaka-crucial for your paper to answer your research question? So, I'd like you to think, develop these tools, sampling, and then meet with me so that I can discuss with you. I realized na yung mga nakikipag-discuss sa akin, nakikipag-consult, sila yung mas maganda yung paper eventually. Apparently, mahirap yung nagko-comment lang sa Google folder or Google Doc. And then June 5 will be our last day of classes. So I'd like you to be sharing your research update and then just to say goodbye to each other. Okay, class. So again, before you go, please write your takeaways, any insight that you gain sa ating discussion. Okay? Sige. Kung wala kayong maisip ngayon, kahit doon na lang sa GC natin. So once you have written down your takeaway, then you can go. Okay, so I'll see you sa ating group consultation. Okay, so thank you, class, and I hope you learned something valuable. And if you learned something today, then please write it in our chat box.